So now we'll start our OT evaluation project by Lauren Arbuckle, Madeline Harbin, Abby Leger, and Rena Madrano. First, we're going to discuss our client EO's occupational profile, which was a client from Fieldwork. First, we're going to look at the COPM. The COPM enables individuals to identify and prioritize everyday issues that impact their occupational performance. They identify issues of personal importance and detect changes in their self-perception of occupational performance over time. And it provides a basis for setting intervention goals. Identifies roles, expectations, and environmental demands that interfere with successful completion of occupations. And so the three main areas are self-care, productivity, and leisure. And clients indicate occupations under these categories that they would like to address. So here's the sample of the score sheet from this client, and what was discovered is that she finds it important and meaningful to return to yoga and to return to dressing. Some background information is this was a patient at Tier Memorial Hermann Inpatient Rehab here in the medical center, and they work on an interdisciplinary team where everyone works together, and the population is older adults, primarily brain injury and stroke patients. And so for general health status of this patient is she had a lacunar stroke, which is caused by an occlusion of a small branch of the larger arteries and tends to be located deeper in the brain, and the symptoms really depend on the location. She was admitted on March 19, 2019. And she's seeking services because following the stroke she has been having right side hemiparesis and she's right hand dominant, so she's having difficulty in performing her self-care tasks. She has spasticity in her right upper extremity. She has some possible cognitive deficits and decreased range of motion and endurance. Her personal interests and values, so she values functional mobility and independence in her self-care tasks, family, and she values hard work. She's very interested in being able to participate in social and leisure activities again. She's interested in childhood education and loves to engage with her grandchildren whenever they get new toys and gadgets. So her history, she's a retired Sesame Street script writer and costume dresser. And so she also has an occupational history of meal preparation, household maintenance, and household cleaning. And for social participation, she does weekly grocery shopping, she gardens with her husband, attends church services every Sunday, and takes yoga. Her roles include wife, mother to a son and daughter, grandmother to 2 grandchildren, member of church, friend, and yoga studio member. Her routines and rituals are grocery shopping once a week, like we said, attending church on Sundays. She likes to cook breakfast and dinner every day for her husband. And her habits are she likes to watch children's shows just because of her history with Sesame Street. And so she'll watch them when she cooks meals and reads articles related to technological advances in camera crew setups.
With EO, she determined her goal. She wants to participate in the occupation of yoga by engaging in the task of participating in meditation while maintaining balance in various poses. Her required activities: she wants to engage with peers, pay equipment and facility fees, arrive for scheduled classes, and maintain poses during class. Her physical supports: she lives in a 1-story home, she has a walk-in shower with a shower chair, and she lives in Houston, so her family is close to help care for her. Her social environment: she's been married for 48 years, she has children and grandchildren, church friends, and yoga friends to help her with her recovery. Her temporal supports include she's more alert and has energy in the morning, so intervention would be fundamental to implement in the morning sessions. Her personal supports: she's 78 years old, she's upper class, bachelor's degree in creative writing, master's degree in film studies. Her cultural supports include a strong sense of love with her husband. They believe in supporting one another through sickness and in health. She has strong family and religious values, and she attends church services once a week. Her barriers, the physical ones, are lack of transportation. She's not medically cleared to drive, so she has to rely on her husband. However, her husband is still working full-time in a business firm, so he's unavailable during the day to care for EO. Her temporal barriers, she's unable to receive Botox injections while in inpatient care. Her insurance, unfortunately, only covers the fees in outpatient care, which will decrease her performance due to the lack of progress and decreasing her spasticity in her shoulder rotators and adductors. Her participation also declines in the afternoon due to fatigue. Her personal barriers include her lower body dressing FIM score is moderate assistance. She requires cues, supervision, and assistance in reaching her feet and donning her shoes. Her cultural barriers include just an expectation to overcome her deficits, and she feels stigmatized for being disabled. So assessments to use for EO. One would be the modified Ashworth scale, which measures resistance during stretching to determine spasticity. And so this will assess abnormal muscle tone, which is common following having a stroke. It takes about 10 minutes, and the scale goes from 0 to 4. Another assessment would be range of motion to assess the joint movement. It again takes about 10 minutes, and you compare one side with the unaffected extremity to denote limitations. For manual muscle testing, it'll evaluate the strength of individual muscles. It's based on movement in relation to forces of gravity or manual resistance through the available range of motion. Again, you compare it to the unaffected side, and it takes 10 minutes. Another assessment that's notable is the FIMS measure. So this assesses the patient's level of disability and change in patient status in response to occupational therapy. So the focus is on ADL, such as dressing, bathing, and transferring. It takes a bit longer, like 30 to 45 minutes to administer and score. Another assessment would be grip and pinch strength. So this tests the strength of grip and pinch, which is great for determining paresis. It measures the strength of the right and left hand. You can do tip-to-tip, palmar, and key pinches. And again, you compare with the unaffected extremity. You'll have 3 trials of each. You find the mean and compare the results with the norms, and it takes about 10 minutes to administer. The MoCA would be a cognitive screening tool to identify her cognitive disabilities, if any. It would assess her attention, concentration, executive functions, memory, language, visual, spatial skills, conceptual thinking, calculations, and orientation. It takes about 10 minutes to administer, and it's a standardized assessment. And here is a picture of what a score sheet would look like.
Analysis we did was covering the jumping wheels obstacle course. We used this jumping wheel. It rolls on flat surfaces, and it does neat tricks. The app we used was called the Free Flight Jumping app. With this app, we were able to do coding. If you see here, this is the coding map that we used. We have 9 steps of coding, and the map here shows you the direction that the jumping wheels went. There was some jumping, and there were some turns in total. Again, there were 9 steps. I'm going to show you the video of the performance obstacle. To complete that obstacle course, performance skills were required. What are performance skills? They are the goal-directed actions that are observable as small units of engagement in daily life occupations, learned and developed over time, and it depends on the context and environment. So we'll be talking about motor skills, process skills, and social interaction skills. This obstacle course did require trial and errors in order to complete it. So the motor skills required for that requires positioning, reaching, bending, manipulating, coordinating, lifting, walking, and transporting the drone from start to finish.
Functional performance skills observed as a person selects, interacts with, and uses tasks, tools, and materials, carries out individual actions and steps, and modifies performance when problems are encountered. The process skills needed to control the drone are sequences, initiates, attends, uses, navigates, notices, adjusts, gathers, and handles. The social interaction skills needed are takes turns, turns towards, approaches, starts, looks, paces self, concludes, disengages, regulates, expresses emotion, and concludes and disengages. When playing with the drones with peers, it is important to have the appropriate social interaction skills with them if you want to teach your peer the correct techniques to control and code it, or if you want to use them in your obstacle course. The cognitive skills required are higher level cognitive skills: thought, attention, mental function of sequencing, memory, emotional regulation, perception, consciousness, temperament and personality, orientation, and energy and drive. It is critical to have the appropriate cognitive skills to be able to control the drone, code it, and use the technology efficiently. The sensory perceptual skills required for the drone are visual, auditory, proprioception, kinesthesia, and vestibular. Vision is the key component in the sensory perceptual skills. You need it to see the drone and to be able to control it correctly. Although auditory is not mandatory, it enhances your social interaction skills with your peers by allowing you to communicate with them effectively. So please subscribe to our channel, comment down below, and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you!